everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And Carrie.
What's up?
We are scrapping the usual formula because, of course, E3 / the beginning of Summer Games Fest was this past weekend. So that's all we're going to talk about this week is nothing but E3 stuff. So if you want to hear what we've been playing and some of the regular bits and bobs, like regular news stuff, that'll be on next week's show. This week it's all about E3. We're going to go through the press conferences, just give very broad presentations of each. But before we get into that, what are your guys' just overall thoughts about the content that we were presented with this year for E3?
I think some companies did a really good job, especially given the kind of production delays that almost everyone is in because of the pandemic over the last year. A lot of stuff we're probably not seeing that they probably had wanted us to see this time last year, but it's just, it didn't happen. Pandemic, man. It still sort of felt that overall we're feeling the effects of this. That being said, I thought the Microsoft Bethesda conference and the Nintendo conference both had a lot of stuff worth looking forward to. There were some other companies, and we'll get to them, where I was like, why are you here?
This could have been a blog post.
Yes, this could have been one blog post. This could have been one YouTube trailer.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting too much given that we're in like a transition year coupled with the pandemic. But wow, like it really wasn't much. I agree with you, Gary. Microsoft had an incredible press conference given the circumstances. And it's kind of like, I'm surprised it was a Microsoft conference, to be perfectly honest with you, given the content. I just saw, I didn't get a chance to sit down through the whole Nintendo thing, but I did see little bits and boops of Nintendo, because that's the thing that we're going to start saying now, bits and boops. It is, they have tailored that thing for their audience, and I get it. Everything else, I was looking forward to a couple companies, and it was just like, yeah, what is this? Oh, this is available now, but you can't play it because it's broken. Oh, okay, great, thanks. So yeah, it was a lackluster year, but I'm not upset by it, but there's nothing that is like, man, I can't wait for this to come out. You know what I mean? I can wait.
Yeah, here's what I learned from this year. 2022 is going to be fucking amazing. in video games, we got a lot of good stuff coming. I don't want to diminish anyone's hard work, but you have on one end Microsoft and Nintendo, and Microsoft even head and shoulders above Nintendo, in my opinion, just in terms of the presentation this year. It depends what you're looking for, but I just think in terms of what they brought to the table.
I mean, I think you're right in terms of an overall presentation.
Yeah.
And I think there was less to my taste, but
yeah, and I'm vice versa with the Nintendo one but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Right.
And then also on the high end, but on the it's like an inverted parabola of sorts with this year, because like low budget but high delivery was all the independent shows, like the shows that were focused around all the independent. This was a fantastic year
for
indie developers, which is typically not seen because they get swallowed up in all of the big stuff that's coming out from all the big publishers. And then at the bottom of the parabola with good resources but poor showing is all the other major third-party publishers that came to the dance this year, which just had some really rough presentations. And I wasn't expecting like megaton level stuff from anybody this year, except maybe Nintendo a little bit. But to get what we got and in the method in which we got it was kind of crazy. Just as crazy as it is for me seeing that Microsoft finally put all the pieces together for like after years and years of hitting stumbling blocks in their presentation. They finally just put everything together and had, for my money, the best E3 presentation since like Sony's PS4 debut presentation, which in my mind is like the gold standard of E3 presentations. So
Yeah.
So we'll get to that shortly. So we're going to go chronologically.
I think I put this chronologically.
Yeah, and to be clear, like this is all E3 stuff specifically. I guess we can touch briefly on the Summer Game Fest content, which was mostly like the Jeff Keighley opening show, which we talked a little bit about during our Microsoft presentation in the preamble to that. Highs and lows with that. I think that just shows what an independent show for this kind of E3 thing looks like. So like Jeff Keighley would probably like to show games, but he has to pay bills also. So like that's why you have like the Ryan Reynolds cameo plugging his movie and that kind of stuff.
I mean, the biggest thing out of that was Elden Ring.
Yes, very much so.
That's coming in January. That's the new Soulsborne game. That's our new From Software game. If you're into that, cool. It looks like a Soulsborne game, except now it's open world.
Yes.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands also arriving early 22 as a spin-off of Borderlands. And then because it couldn't be a Jeff Keighley presentation without a cameo from his boyfriend, there's a Death Stranding director's cut.
Like again, we did so like that was so weird because he had a weird interview with Kojima. And then they're like, oh, I've got something to show you. Like, here's one more thing, Jeff, like he says. And then they cut to this trailer, which is the most like Metal Gear ass looking trailer, but it's Norman Reedus and not Snake. And like apparently like Norman Reedus like getting the cardboard box down and opening it and then getting inside of it and then getting out of it and then putting the box back on the shelf was supposed to symbolize like Kojima saying like I'm done with Metal Gear. Like that was some like subtle symbolism.
Okay.
But
sure.
all just to let us know that we have a director's cut of Death Stranding coming out, whatever that means, because video game directors don't have editors like films do that direct cuts are necessary. So the original product should be the director's cut of any video game that you get, essentially.
I really want him to make a movie. I really do, and I really want to see it. And I
It'd
really
be
hope
8
it stinks.
hours long.
Yeah, like I don't hope it stinks, but I just need him to kind of get this out of his system.
Like I know in my bones it wouldn't be any good.
Yeah, it's not going to be good, right? Like, trust me. After what I just spent, trust me, it's not going to be good. But I really want to see it, just so he can get it out of his system, right? And start, and maybe make some games that like have, I don't know, that you know what? That's a whole nother topic. Topic that maybe somebody will get into one day. But
is there Death Stranding footage that's literally on like a cutting room floor that we haven't seen?
You just saw it. It's Norman Reedus. It is mailman backpack getting in and out of a box.
Oh my goodness. So if you and then the other conference that I would implore everyone to watch if they didn't was the Day of the Devs conference that was put on by Double Fine. We got to see some more from like Axiom Verge 2 and Phantom Abyss, which is one of the games that I'm very looking forward to from E3. Wandering Village looks very neat. Death's Door, another game that I think looks cool as shit, was shown off there as well. Just a lot of really cool indie games, so definitely check that out as well. It's like an hour long, but a really solid little showcase there as well. So into E3 proper, Ubisoft kicked us off. The two biggest things that they showed, I would argue, would be gameplay from Rainbow Six Extraction, which is coming out in September, and then the reveal of a new Mario and Rabbids game, which is coming to Nintendo Switch, which was leaked like an hour before.
Yeah, it was leaked earlier that day because
By
someone
Nintendo.
it was leaked by Nintendo. Someone published the website before it was supposed to go up. Yeah, other stuff. I mean, your typical Ubisoft fare, Just Dance coming out soon.
Not on the Wii, notably. The first time.
Yeah, exactly.
ever.
We like they're finally done with the Wii. I guess enough people have the Switch now that they can just focus on the Switch version. Assassin's Creed Valhalla DLC is happening this summer. We got another look at Far Cry 6, which will have a multiplayer mode that lets you play as all of the bad guys, aka all of the more fun characters from the Far Cry franchise. They introduced Rocksmith Plus. So Rocksmith is a game that came out several years ago, and it's like, it'll teach you how to play guitar. And like, I heard good things about it, but like, one, you have to own a guitar. Makes sense if you're trying to learn the instruments. It doesn't come with a guitar.
Oh, okay.
Actually, when it released, they did have an edition that
they did, but like it came with a real piece of shit guitar.
It was like $200.
Yeah,
you're not probably going to get a very good guitar for 200 bones.
But I mean, it's a subscription service for what is essentially guided tablature, and just fucking look up tabs online, you fucking dorks. Or better yet, learn how to read music. It'll make your brain better if you do that.
Guitarists don't know how to read how to read script music.
No, that's very true. I don't know that I've met a person who has guitar as their main instrument who's like, yeah, I learned how to read music. Almost all these people played tabs, but that means that there's a lot of free tabs online. That's some band nerd shading for you. That's true. So. I'm at the point where, because I play bass, I've played bass for like 20 years now, where I've read music so long that if I'm doing like a project where it's notation and then tabs directly underneath it, I actually like have problems reading it because the tabs will always throw me off because they'll be like, oh, play it in this position. I'm like, well, that's not how I would play it. So then my brain thinks that I'm playing it wrong. Anyway, fuck tabs, learn how to read music. But yeah, Rocksmith Plus, I guess the first Rocksmith was successful enough for them to try this. I just don't see that being a big thing for them long term. I don't think it's gonna be a huge seller, but I mean, it's a niche product. I think the benefit that this has, it's more guided lesson. Yeah, and it's cheaper than taking actual guitar lessons, I guess. I guess, yeah. For you introverts that want to learn how to play guitar, right? And then the other thing is, and this was mentioned sort of in our pre-show before the Microsoft conference show that we did. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora was previewed. That is out sometime in 2022. Mike's reaction. I mean, that's a fair reaction. Like, has any property gotten more hype with less substance than Avatar? I don't think so. Just in terms of pop culture. I don't think so, man. People. I don't get it. I don't get it. When I was in the moment, I got it. And then literally the second I stepped out, the second I took the 3D glasses off, that was enough. Like, I don't need to revisit this world. This world is not that special. I don't even remember what the things are. Do you remember what the blue avatars are called? They are called the Na'vi, and I only remember that because I've been to the Disney park that has the Avatar attractions. So I think I have more hands-on experience with this world than either of you do. Like, they're treating Avatar as if it was some cultural touchstone that, that everyone is just like, oh my God. Like I got more from the Indiana Jones game announcement than the Avatar game announcement. But yeah, for sure. I mean, as I said on the other episode that we did, I think like the world of Avatar is compelling. I think there's interesting stuff to do with the Na'vi culture and with just the inherent sort of flora and fauna on that world that you could make a compelling video game out of. I hope it's good, you know.
There are
I hope it comes out and
It's-
it's good and it's fun.
I think it's going to be bold prediction. I think it's going to be a live service game.
there are
I,
4 more Avatar movies coming.
yeah. okay.
Allegedly.
Alleged.
Yes.
Well, two of them are allegedly in post production, so that means that they should.
Two of them have allegedly been in post production for like 5 years.
Here's a hot take. Why do we keep sucking James Cameron's dick? Like, aside from Avatar, he literally has done nothing of serious note since Titanic came out, and that was 24 years ago. And to be fair, like the stuff he did before then was top tier incredible. Like I get how he got to where he is, but why do we continue to hang on to James Cameron when he has produced nothing,
Almost nothing of substance.
of substance in the last 24 years?
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, man.
I guess. But you know what James Cameron can do? He can return to the Terminator franchise and maybe make a good Terminator movie again.
Yeah, instead of shilling that all these bad Terminator movies are really good Terminator movies, and then signing the check as he's saying it. Like, come on, man. Like,
Yes. I found interesting. So the Assassin's Creed bit was that Ubisoft, for the first time ever, is going to be supporting an Assassin's Creed game into its second year. Usually it's like 6 months and they bail typically. And some of the stuff they're bringing to the game is actually free. It doesn't require the purchase of any additional DLC. So I'll revisit Valhalla at some point. I just don't know when because there's too many new games coming out.
you can thank the pandemic for that.
Yeah.
Because you better believe if they were to if everything was rocking and rolling the way it usually is, we would have our new locale for a new Assassin's
I mean,
Creed.
look, I am back all in on the Assassin's Creed franchise, back on the bandwagon. But every 2 years, you got to space them out. That's a lot of game. I can't digest those annually. It's too much.
No.
It's too much. We did a separate like watch along for Microsoft and Bethesda. So we're not going to talk a lot about it. If you've not yet watched it, if you go to youtube.com/DeadsPixels, you can see that. You can watch the conference with us, get our reactions in real time, get a summation a little bit afterwards. It was very entertaining, I think. So definitely check it out if you haven't. The big notes from that, we're getting Starfield next year. Supposedly they might have also teased the locale for Elder Scrolls 6 hidden within the Starfield trailer. So people say.
Wow. I'd have to go back and rewatch that again and try and find that then.
Outer Worlds 2 was announced, which I think I predicted last week, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like I said something about Outer Worlds 2 on one of the recent episodes. Halo Infinite, much better showing from what we saw from the game last year that forced them to quickly run back and say that it's not coming out for another year past its original release. They also did a separate multiplayer feature on Halo 2 on Halo Infinite the following day. So if you want to get some more insight onto that, you can check out Microsoft's YouTube channel to check that out. And then of course the Xbox mini fridge, the Series X fridge is coming as well. And you'll actually be able to buy it. And I can't wait for them to make a limited number so that those refrigerators sell for like $1,500 on eBay after the fact. Would you try to open your Xbox by accident if you had the fridge and the Xbox Series X and they were in close proximity to one another?
People have done worse with their Xboxes, so I would not be surprised. The question is, are you going to blow smoke into your Xbox fridge and then say, oh, it's broken?
That's why I can't believe someone did that online.
Yeah,
But I mean, the biggest thing for me with Microsoft is they showed off 30 games, 27 of which will be available day one on Game Pass during their presentation. This is coming from the company who we used to make fun of all the time because they either looped in all sorts of other multimedia bullshit into their press conferences that nobody wanted to see, or their press conferences would be filled of third-party games that were also coming out on PlayStation anyway. So like it was kind of pointless to kind of view a lot of what they were doing. This was the first time that I can recall that this was Microsoft from beginning to end, and even the third-party stuff that they showed is stuff that's going to be available on Game Pass on day one, so that if you have an Xbox, there's literally no reason not to play it on Xbox. This is exactly what I was looking for from Microsoft. Again, they're in the position right now where obviously Game Pass is what they are selling at this point. They don't care if you buy an Xbox, they just want you to buy Game Pass. And that presentation sold the shit out of Game Pass to anyone who might have been skeptical about it.
Yeah, man. I couldn't believe all those, Game Pass announcements for all of those games. It's I'm astonished. And I can't wait to at least try some of these games. You know what I mean? Like there are some that I really want to play that I would have bought or purchased, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
So,
well, and case in point, a game like Forza Horizon 5 is an incredible looking game. It looks like it might be fun, but Micah, correct me if I'm wrong. You're not a Forza purchaser. Like you don't really buy those Forza games.
Yeah, I don't really play the Forza game, or I don't really buy the Forza game. I've played the last one because it's on Game Pass,
right?
And I'll play this one just to kind of futz around and see what's just to check it out, and with no guilt, like with no buyer's remorse. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Game Pass is this is the year.
This is the year. Like I said, I'm seriously considering. I'm not even seriously considering it. Like once Xbox Series X has become readily available, I'm probably going to purchase one, and not buy any games for it. Like literally just buy games.
Yeah,
and call it.
Yeah, just do what I do. I just keep money in my Microsoft account and just have them debit it every month. And I got like $100 in there. So, and it's only $15 a month.
Right.
So whatever, man.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Capcom.
Now
I thought Gearbox had the worst presentation, and Gearbox was bad. We're not talking about Gearbox here because we talked about it before the Microsoft show. Gearbox was literally, here's the same trailers you just saw for like Wonderlands and other stuff like that. And let's do set visits on the Borderlands movie with Randy Pitchford, but we're not going to show you anything cool. Like that's literally what Gearbox's presentation was. Capcom's was largely worse.
Yeah, because it's all stuff we've seen elsewhere and then would see again elsewhere.
Right. And the stuff that you didn't see elsewhere was literally a trailer to announce that Resident Evil Village DLC is happening.
Right. Just text on a screen. Like
not what it is, not what it's going to be about, not when we can expect to see it, but no, just so you know, we're going to use this prime spot during E3 just to tell you that Resident Evil Village DLC is in development, because for some reason we couldn't announce that before the game came out.
No. Yeah, I mean, I think it was like, we were overwhelmed by the amount of support that Resident Evil Village had, so now we're starting to work on DLC for it, so that's on the way. Like, okay. We also saw another look.
I think that Resident Evil Village wasn't going to sell like 6.
Did you not realize that everyone was horny for the big vampire lady?
Like you got, like, Capcom has been on a fucking heater since Monster Hunter World came out in 2017, and they're like, we didn't think that Resident Evil Village was going to sell. What are you talking about? Resident Evil is like your fucking flag, like tentpole.
One of your tentpole titles, man. Like, come on, man. It helped put you on the map, yo. and they had they marketed the game incredibly.
Yeah.
Right? Like you think Goth Big Tits or whatever her name is gonna be in that whole game. She's only in like one part of it.
At the beginning, no less.
Right. And then people are like, this is actually pretty good. So look, I didn't get a chance to see this in real time, so I went back.
You missed nothing. There was nothing of value. You can go online and you can find the trailers for the Great Ace Attorney collection, which got like a slightly more extensive gameplay trailer. And then Monster Hunter Stories got another new trailer, and then they previewed some more free updates happening for Monster Hunter Rise. So like,
Micah, they spent 10 minutes talking about the Capcom Pro Tour, and they had like nothing real. Like, it's not like there was like, oh, new characters for Street Fighter V. Like, nah, here's this year's costumes for the Capcom Pro Tour that you can buy in Street Fighter V, and here's what we're doing this year.
I saw the last part of it, and I'm like, and I flipped it on, and I'm like, why are they talking about like Pro Tour stuff? Like, am I looking at the right stream? And then I went to another one,
Unfortunately, yes.
and I was like, yeah, this is the right stream. And then I saw the host come out, and she was like, thanks, guys. This is we. And then I saw the recap that she gave, and I'm like, is this it? Hey, the Resident Evil 8 is here. Like,
we know.
And here's another Ace Attorney. Like, oh, okay, all right, that's new. Monster Hunter is getting new stuff. I'm like, all right,
you can ride a Monstie in Monster Hunter. Like, cool. Like that was trending on Twitter after
Monsties.
So.
Yeah, but I was like, wow, that was
and then like literally the same information got reiterated in Nintendo's presentation anyway. So it was completely like, and that was 35 minutes. That was the 35-minute presentation to talk about absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Thank you for wasting all of our time, Capcom.
Yeah, I need Capcom to stop wasting my time.
I was looking forward to Capcom, man. I really was.
So Square Enix was an interesting presentation, very uneven.
It sure was.
And a complete and a utter failure, depending on who you talk to, because the first thing they showed off was a surprise. And this was literally half the presentation. They revealed a new game that was previously unannounced. It's coming from Eidos Montreal, developers of Deus Ex. And it is a Guardians of the Galaxy adventure game where you play as Star-Lord, but you travel with the other Guardians of the Galaxy, and you can basically issue commands to them in fights and stuff like that. And they have like supers that you can team up and do special powers and things of that nature. And it's like the stuff they showed was very on brand for like Guardians. It's got the Guardians style humor in it and the irreverence and things of that nature as well. So it's very faithful to the universe that's been,
I mean, dare I say, it looks solid. It looks like a solid game.
It does.
It doesn't look over the top, blow me away, but it looks
Do you know what game I immediately thought of when I started watching like the gameplay from Guardians of the Galaxy? Do you know what game immediately popped into my head as what this is akin to? Micah, do you know what game popped in my head as what this game seems like it's going to be akin to?
No.
This reminded me a lot of the 2013 Deadpool game that came out.
Oh damn!
I can't remember who developed the fucking thing, but
so I played that game.
Yeah,
I did too.
And I beat that game.
I did too.
And I think this looks better than that.
Okay.
That Deadpool game was, we all worked at GameStop, and at GameStop, they have this policy where you, as an employee, can take a game home to play it to get more knowledge about what you're selling, right? And that was how I played and finished Deadpool, right?
Deadpool was developed by High Moon Studios for Activision, by the way.
And this looks better than Deadpool, I think. I
just get that vibe from it. Like it feels like it's like the PS5 Xbox version of what that game is going to be essentially.
Yeah, this gives me it seems like it's they're doing some interesting things. It looks like a
solid 6.5 out of 10. That's what it looks like. Looks like a game I'm going to wait to drop down to $30 before I buy.
This is not one of them games that I'm going to rush out to get, but I would play this game. It seems like it might be fun. To be quite honest with you, like I can think of other things that they could do to really make me get into it, right? Like you can only play a Star-Lord. And look, we're going to talk about a lot of this because this is literally a lot of what they talked about.
Right.
You could play a Star-Lord and it's got like Telltale style choice.
Telltale light. Telltale.
Yeah, light. And you can control the other Guardians of the Galaxy to a very minor extent. What would be really cool is if you could switch between the Guardians either at will and still be able to control the other guardians, or there are level specific characters that
each
you have to
one.
use for each person, right? I think that would have been really cool, but you know, you're stuck playing as Star Lord, which is fine. I don't like that Nazi haircut that he has, but whatever.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought his jacket looked pretty solid. Like the Thriller inspired jacket. I'm like, I'm
Sure.
here for that.
Like they're getting the vibe. They're like, oh well, it's, you know, a hybrid of the comics and the movies, but like it's like 70% movie, right? And they're getting it's look, this is this what I saw right now is better than Avengers. And honestly,
Easy.
I you could have made an Avengers game with this type of format. Where
And it
you play
probably
as
would have been received a lot better.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I'm not gonna write this game off. I think it looks pretty decent. I don't know if it's one of those games where it comes out in October. I'll wait 2 months for all the holiday sales
Yeah.
and have it knock $20 off, and then
You'll be shocked to learn that some people on the internet, TM, were shocked and appalled that the voice actors and likenesses were not that of the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, folks, because
come on.
why would you have expected that to happen?
Yeah. All right. Do you want this one? Do you want this game this game costs $60? Do you want it to cost $100? I mean, do you want this game to not come out when it's going to come out? And nah, yo, it's not an MCU
Again,
game.
like you literally right, like Square has made it perfectly clear that their games are not part of the MCU at all.
Right.
Like
Right.
Avengers is the same way, and people have the same complaints about that. But once you saw that Avengers was like that, why would you have expected
Why
this
would
to be like that? I don't understand it at all. Like it doesn't look bad. Like I said, I like Guardians if it's fun and the gameplay doesn't like my biggest concern is it feels like the gameplay is going to get like super repetitive. Just from the little bit that they showed. They also definitely hung out with the Final Fantasy modern Final Fantasy game development team, I think, a little bit to develop this combat system, complete with like stagger meter, essentially. So, which is fine. Like I said, it's not a bad combat system at all. Speaking of Avengers, we finally got to see the reveal of the Black Panther War for Wakanda DLC that's going to be coming out eventually, which I'm sure they're banking on getting a lot of people back to the game.
I don't know if it'll bring me back. You know, all this stuff.
You want to play through the campaign?
I'm thinking about it. I kind of want to see how Black Panther plays. If he just plays like Captain America, then that's not going to be enough for me. If he plays like Captain America but without the shield throwing, then that's not going to be enough for me.
So like, forgive me, I know very little about Black Panther. Is the villain one that people are going to be excited about seeing?
Claw?
Ulysses Claw?
Yeah, Ulysses Claw is one of your one of your go-tos.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just like his arch rival. You know what I mean? Like he's
Ulysses Claw is the fucking white colonizer who broke into Wakanda and stole the fucking vibranium. Yeah, so this is the character that has been played by Andy Serkis in the MCU. So this is a character that people should have some degree of awareness of if they follow other Marvel media. I think a lot of people really wanted to see Killmonger, particularly after the movie. Wow. But honestly, like Claw is one of the classic Black Panther villains. So I wasn't surprised that that's what they went with.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easy. And yeah, I don't know. The archers didn't really do it for me. I didn't see enough of them for it to want to bring me back into it. We'll see with Black Panther. I don't know.
I mean, this is the bridge to get to Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Man on one console, anyway. So,
yeah, is that still happening?
As far as I know, I mean, they certainly made a big fucking deal about it when they announced the game. So,
also, given how that game plays, I'm very curious to see how a Spider-Man would even traverse, let alone
running on the ground a lot.
Play.
Or he would swing from the invisible girders like he did in the PS2 Spider-Man games.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that.
that's probably it. He'll flip to the clouds.
Yes. It wouldn't be a Square conference without copious amounts of Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy spin-off news. Yet nothing about the Final Fantasy that we actually wanted to see.
Well, no, like we got like a snippet of Final Fantasy 16 footage right at the very end.
That
and
doesn't
like
count.
it
If
wasn't
if
anything
it's part of
new.
a sizzle reel, it does not.
Yeah.
It does not qualify. They didn't say the words Final Fantasy 16.
No.
What we did see was the rumored Final Fantasy Team Ninja title that's coming out. It's called Stranger of Paradise, and it left people
Looks bad.
underwhelmed.
Looks fucking bad. Looks real fucking stupid. You got a main character who I'm pretty sure is being voiced by Travis Willingham, who fucking clearly stopped off at the mall on his way here, bought himself a new shirt from Abercrombie and Fitch, and now he's got a big sword and he is here to kill chaos. And that's the only he said, I'm here to kill chaos. I want to kill chaos. Like 28 times over the course of that trailer. Yeah, I don't think it looks good at all.
Now, in the interest of fairness, there is probably no company whose trailer quality sits below the quality of the actual game when it releases than Square Enix.
Also true.
They're very bad at putting trailers together, like furiously bad at cutting trailers. So I don't know if you can necessarily take that to the bank, but we'll need to see more, let's say.
So on the topic of Final Fantasy Origin, a demo was released, and when the demo first released,
a limited time demo.
A limited time demo. It's only available to June 24th.
Yes, and only on PlayStation.
So yeah, if you have a PlayStation 5, I think you can do.
I mean, you can download it. You sure can download it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Apparently they fixed it. So yesterday when it was released, it was corrupted and broken. Like trying to load the game would load up an error message that said, can't continue using this game or app. The data is corrupted. Delete it from your PS5 and then download it again from your library. Now they issued a patch and now it's apparently functional. So that might be something I spend 12 minutes with later this week.
I'll try it, but it doesn't. It looks very generic, right? Like and I saw Square has this weird thing with like their realistic humans and their realistic proportions, but they still kind of like have anime style heads and hair. It just it's off-putting. It's like mannequins walking around.
That's fair.
That's their style though, man.
That's their style. I get it. This old blonde Tom Brady looking dude. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have too high hopes for it, but look, I'll play the demo and give it a shot and see what it and talk about it next week. See what it's about. They got a black guy in here, so that at least requires me to start the game.
And then they finally came through with something that people have been asking for forever, and that is re-releases of the first 6 Final Fantasy games.
Well, I don't think anyone was asking for Final Fantasy 2.
True, but they can't just leave it out. Like that'd be fucked up. Just, like,
1, 3, 4, and 5 and 6.
So it's not exactly what people are asking for, because these are called pixel remasters. So basically, they are in the style of the original games, but touched up to look nicer. With colors that are more akin to those shitty mobile versions that people hated.
It's interesting. It's almost in between. It's like using the classic pixel art but taking the palette of the mobile.
Correct.
Which Could be worse. I have some degree of optimism for it. I
But if-
actually just
but if-
got a
but if you
fucking
need-
Super Nintendo copy of Final Fantasy VI, so
Yeah.
now I don't really need this.
You should. I wish, man, if you were around, if you told me something 6 months ago, you could have had one beforehand. So
Yeah, well, hey, I still got it for free, so
that's been more than I would have. More than it's less than you would have paid for me. So, but if you want to see the ultimate reaction to this trailer, then go check out. It's online. Rocco Bot from Mega 64 was watching live with the presentation, and so they showed this, and he got fucking hyped. He's like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "Yes." He's like, "That's what I want." He's like, 4. He's like, "My favorite one's 6." He's like, "Yes, this is all we've wanted for this for so long. Is just just to be able to play these games in the version that we want on the console that we want, and for it to be good." And then at the very end of the trailer, the splash screen says coming to PC and mobile, and he just like and then just gets up and walks away from this fucking computer.
Look, I'm gonna say the same thing Blizzard said a couple years ago when people were pissed off about the Diablo mobile game. You're telling me you don't have a phone?
That's not where I want to play it.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
come on,
I'm like,
yeah.
I get it.
Come on,
I
man.
get it.
have a
Fuck outta
perfectly
here.
good console right here that I can be playing.
Here's the thing. I bet that console versions will come later.
They should
knowing
be there
Square
day
Enix.
and date. Why are you prioritizing Steam and mobile for this game that has its roots in the Nintendo Entertainment System? And
That's an
Super
excellent
Nintendo?
question.
Come on, it's right
here's,
there.
here's the most interesting note from my perspective. This is the first time that we are getting the actual version of Final Fantasy III from the NES
Yes,
localized
Yes.
in English.
yes,
Because we got Final Fantasy III
right. Redone
as a DS remake, and I thought it was fine, but that's not the original. This is the original version, or as close to the original as we're ever gonna get. And it only took them 35 fucking years to do. So yeah, I think that's an interesting tidbit.
Like five is the one that I've always heard of the older style ones. Is
5
like
has the best job system,
right, the best that no one's played, basically the best Final Fantasy no one's played.
Also, some of the best tracks of music in the game. Battle on the Big
Battle on the
Bridge.
Bridge, yeah.
Fucks, like it's such a good track.
It's like it's such a notable track that Final Fantasy fans, like if you're a fan of the Final Fantasy series, you know that song even if you've never played the game before. That's how popular that song is from that game. So, and it happens early, so you can get to check it out early.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Now, what's fun about this is it appears as though you will be able to buy it as a collection, or if you want to skip games such as Final Fantasy 2 because it's fucking terrible. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy 2, feel free to come at me and explain why that game is worth playing, because I don't think it has any merit.
Isn't it the first one that had chocobos? Like, isn't that the only notable thing about it?
I think so.
I didn't play 3 because I played 2. How bad 2 was to me.
3 is interesting. 3 is still on the weaker side, but 3 was a huge step up from 2. But yeah, so if you're like, I just want to play 4, 5, and 6 because you're like a reasonable adult with good taste and a decent head on your shoulders, you can buy the games individually. You don't have to buy all 6.
I should finally try to really play 4. I tried playing the DS version of 4.
4 is my favorite.
Click with me.
4 is my favorite Final Fantasy. 6 is right there, but 4 is my favorite.
Yeah, it's 4 or it's 6 and then 4 and then it doesn't matter. Like 4 is good. 4 is good.
Are you talking about just in this collection, or is that in the Final Fantasy?
No, period.
Period. Really?
Period. Yeah.
I thought you fucked with 10. Like we just talked about.
I do like 10. I like 10 a lot.
10's fine.
But I like 4 better.
But to like to separate it, and like it's literally just 6 and 4 in the topmost tier, and that's it. Like those are the only 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of the modern Final Fantasies can crack the top
No.
tier Final Fantasy games.
In terms of characters and storytelling, like of
In terms of
that
characters, storytelling, and music, like
yeah, no.
So what you're
Not
telling
at
me is that when Square foolishly like withheld them from the Western market. They did pick the right ones at least to release over.
I still think they should have released 5 at some point.
Yeah.
Like it's really a shame that a lot of people haven't played through 5. I haven't ever finished 5. I'm looking forward to playing through 5 as part of this collection.
It's gonna be super weird seeing that SNES title screen for Final Fantasy 6, but it's gonna say Final Fantasy 6. Like even
Right.
on my my SNES Mini, it still says Final Fantasy 3.
3, yeah.
Because it's the actual original version of that. So,
Yep.
we got a big look at Babylon's Fall, which is a new game that they had announced previously, didn't really shed too many details on. Then they did shed details on it, and graphically it doesn't look too impressive, but it's, hack and slash kind of Soulsy style combat. And then they dropped the bomb that it's going to be a live service game, which disappointed a few people that were watching, let's say, for sure. But definitely took the air out of the balloon. I remember watching the official E3 stream. The one gentleman who was there from GameSpot, whose name I don't recall, before the Square show was like, Babylon's Fall, I'm telling you, it's gonna be fucking hype. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome shit. It's gonna be crazy. And then like they talked to him after the presentation, and he's just like, yeah, I was wrong, I think. Like, I was really let down. I thought for sure that it was gonna be incredible. And then they were like live service game. He's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Square's like, man, we got to get some of that live service cheese out there. There's money to be had in them hills that we haven't tapped into yet. So we'll see more on Babylon's Fall later on. I think people are also a little put off by the just general like art design of the game. Like, I don't necessarily think that they were looking for something so Victorian England that they got.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So.
I don't think that game looks good at all, and I don't think it's going to do particularly well. So
we got to see some more of Life is Strange True Colors, which is coming this fall, and you'll be able to play the whole thing at release. They're going to release it episodically, but you'll be able to play it all at once if you want to. And they're getting a remastered collection for the previous Life is Strange games. The thing that I kept
hold on, worth noting, I think the remaster collection only includes Life is Strange and then Before the Storm. I do not think it includes 2.
Well, I guess you wouldn't really need a remaster of Life is Strange 2. It came out recently enough.
Yeah.
To not have to worry about that. The thing that stuck in my mind from the Life is Strange presentation is they kept talking about the power that the main character has, and the power that she has is empathy.
Right. They kept referring to it as a psychic power.
Yeah. And I'm just like, that's not what empathy is, but
no.
Okay.
Nope, empathy is not a psychic power.
Like, stop saying that. Like,
please stop. Please stop implying having emotions is a power.
Yeah, well, I mean, given the day and age that we live in now, having a little bit of an open heart to your fellow man might mean you're a superhero.
Yeah.
Or just able to discern how people are feeling based on visual, like the whole thing is she
based on visual cues, right? No,
like the whole thing is she can like read people's thoughts and how they're feeling.
Yeah, like stuff. She's a telepath is the thing. It's not that she has the power of empathy. She's a telepath and she can see people's auras. I need them to get their verbiage straight on that shit. But
come on, guys! Everyone knows that Professor X is the most talented empath in all of the X-Men.
Like, but I feel like that all of the situations that you can encounter in this game are going to be easily solved with like minor things. Like, oh, I'm sad because these people forgot my birthday, and like, oh, like let me go get her a present and a cake, and be like, hey, I couldn't get this detail yesterday. So like problem solved. like we've sussed out this emotion that you're feeling.
This is what women want, or what men want. The game.
It's true. So, like I said, I'm sure if you're a fan of Life is Strange, you are probably going to enjoy this. Michael, are you going to play Life is Strange True Colors? I know you like the first one a lot.
I would like to, but I don't know. This feels like it should be a Game Pass game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we'll see. If reviews come out and they're like, this story is stellar,
Mhm.
then yeah, I'll jump on it because I did enjoy the first Life is Strange, and because it's just a different type of game. It's an
Yeah.
old school adventure game, and when I did play PC games, I used to play those, and I enjoyed them. So,
They showed up a Legend of Mana remaster. That's the thing that pisses me off the most is all these Mana games are getting fucking like high end remasters, and I know not one of them was as popular as fucking Final Fantasy VI.
No, but the other thing is these remasters have been a little hit or miss in the Mana series. I heard the Secret of Mana remaster was just straight up not good.
Right, but if you're gonna dedicate the resources,
right, like why are you doing all of the Mana games
why
instead
don't you
of
just do one Final Fantasy VI? Which people would be, and Final Fantasy IV too. Come on, let's show the love out there. But 4 already had kind of a remaster, so.
Yeah. So I mean, this follows in the footsteps of Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana. So it'll be out next week. So that's cool. Legend of Mana is the 4th overall game in the Mana franchise. It's one of the I would qualify it as sort of the redheaded stepchild of the franchise. It had really fabulous music by Yoko Shimomura. It's notably non-linear compared to some of the other games. But it was criticized when it first released for just having not a particularly good story. So but whatever, this is a game from like 22 years ago that's getting a remaster. So if you are into classic JRPGs, might as well give it a shot.
Yep. And then they showed off some mobile games that Square is doing, including more stuff coming to their Final Fantasy mobile game and stuff for Nier, and a Hitman game that you can play with your friends. That if they don't call it Hitmen, then what the fuck are they even doing over there? And all
hit folks. Excuse me, we are gender inclusive here.
Hit persons.
Hit people.
So that was the Square presentation. Again, if you liked Guardians, that it started hot and cooled off almost immediately. If you're not a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, then you probably thought that this presentation was a bit shit.
I thought it was a little lackluster top to bottom.
Yeah. And then we bookended with Nintendo, who was just earlier today. Now, I am of two minds of this Nintendo presentation. I was expecting at least one like megaton game to be debuted or shown in great detail. So like, yes, they showed Breath of the Wild 2 for the first time, but they didn't really show.
Well, for the first time in like 2 years.
Yes, but they didn't show any like extended gameplay. It was more like a teaser reel with some gameplay elements in it.
Yeah.
And it's not coming out till next year. We didn't get Prime 5. We didn't get
Prime 4.
That's what I meant. We didn't get Prime 4. We didn't get a new Mario Odyssey. We didn't get a new Donkey Kong game, which was heavily rumored before this.
We did get a monkey game though.
We did get a monkey game. Like when they first like, oh, someone's celebrating his 20-year anniversary, and I saw the bananas. I'm like, Donkey Kong Country came out in 1994. I was like, that doesn't make
doing the quick math on that.
Yeah, and I was like, this isn't Donkey Kong. And then it was like, oh, it's Super Monkey Ball, which I thought was older than 20 years, but I guess
I thought it was much younger than 20 years. And then I was like, wait, 2001 was 20 years ago, and now my bones hurt.
Well, here's another thing that broke me. So in my thought process for this, and I realized it was Donkey Kong. Then I realized in 3 years, we are going to be at the 30-year anniversary of when Donkey Kong Country released, which is brain shattering to me because Donkey Kong Country was like the zenith of the time of Super Nintendo era graphics. Like it was the most beautiful Super Nintendo game that they ever fucking made. And they got more beautiful with the future iterations. And that game's almost 30 years old. And wow. I'm gonna die in a gray bearded fucking malaise. But we didn't see any of those hype tempo games. We also didn't see any more like Splatoon 3, which they have announced previously. So what they did show was a lot of like the more niche Switch games, which is kind of what you need to propel.
I would
through.
say it was like a solid top to bottom of like, well, with like a couple exceptions, it was mostly like B tier content.
Right.
It wasn't all A tier. You got a couple A tier games in there for sure, but this was mostly B tier games. But they avoided wasting a ton of time on like garbage.
Yes.
So we opened the Nintendo presentation with the next Smash Brothers character, which is Kazuya from Tekken franchise, which I am completely apathetic about.
Well, I think people were a little underwhelmed because Kazuya is going to be the second to last Smash Brothers Ultimate character that releases. So I think people were expecting to get like huge names.
Yeah.
And
I think people wanted Dante.
People really wanted
Yeah.
Dante.
Getting the second most notable character from the Tekken franchise is probably not the biggest get.
Man,
Especially if you already have the first, so in the game.
Put some respect on Kazuya's name.
He's not
they have,
notable to Heihachi.
No, he's not, but there's history between the two of them.
Right.
And that's why, so you can act out your own fantasies of patricide or I don't know what the term is for killing your son. But yeah, that's why he's in it, right? Like I see people are like, why isn't Jin in it? Like, Kazuya's been there from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So and he hates his dad and his dad hates him, and they're both in a game where they can beat the shit out of each other.
I did appreciate the fact that the trailer leaned hard into Kazuya dumping the bodies of other Nintendo characters into a volcano.
Throwing them in a volcano. Just throwing them in a volcano. And then I saw him do that to Kirby, and I'm like, well, this is not gonna. What is gonna?
He leans over and Kirby's floating away behind him. It was like, a good bit. I appreciated the bit.
Yeah, I was like, come on now, you're not gonna throw your character in the volcano. But
no, it goes to show that Kirby is the chosen one and cannot be killed. Kirby is an immortal being. Worth noting.
I want Kirby when he eats Kazuya to just have that slick back hair.
Oh, I'm sure that'll be it.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure that'll be it.
I want him to have that Japanese gangster haircut. When he sucks him up and blows him out.
So they're releasing the Mario Party game that they probably should release in the first place.
I do. Before we move on to Mario Party, I do want to mention that if you are a big Smash Brothers fan, we are getting one of these more character-focused Smash Directs that they've been doing for all of the DLC characters. So that's happening in 2 weeks, where Sakurai will go into detail on how the character plays. And boy, he just looks like he plays like a Tekken character. So
yeah, those are always very interesting. Even if if you just kind of like want to know, like he breaks down the reason why that character was chosen and the love that he has or doesn't have for that character, right? Like Steve was in it and he's just like, well, Nintendo said if I want, I gotta give him one. If I want this one, I gotta give him that one. So Steve, a Minecraft guy.
Yep.
That's pretty funny, actually. That he's like negotiating, like basically taking a shit on Steve in the first place. Like, he's there because the marketing department really asked me to. I really in the game, so I threw him a bone. What do you want me to do? So,
but Mario Party Superstars. It's going to contain classic boards as well as 100 different classic mini games from across the whole Mario Party franchise. I watched a little bit of a gameplay demo for this on the Treehouse live presentation, and a whole bunch of stuff is coming back. What's nice is that in the sort of preview screen before each mini game starts, where they explain to you what you're about to have to do, it tells you which Mario Party these games originated in. Game looks beautiful, man. Like they played on the Peach's birthday cake board earlier, which is from like Mario Party like 2 or
Mhm.
3. And like that cake looks so good. I'm like, I want to eat that cake. Like,
Well, it's funny. So they kind of started doing this that I can recall with Mario Kart, bringing back a lot of the like classic tracks and telling you like, but remastering them for the modern game. And I think that's brilliant. Like any game like this, like when you have Mario Golf or tennis or like things that you can draw back from, absolutely put in like the classic like nostalgic things that people love, because that's just gonna sell the game for you. Like the fact that Mario Kart 8 has like, what is it, like 10 circuits, because they have all like the retro circuits as well that are in the game that are just a remix of the most popular old tracks, is fucking phenomenal, adds a lot of value to the game, and is an easy layup for Nintendo. Like it's probably not that hard to remaster some of those things. So I think people are just a little miffed because they just added the new online features to the existing Mario Party game that's on the Switch, and then they're like, but in 3 months here's this new $60 game that we want you to buy, which is the stuff that you actually want, instead of just like adding it to the other Mario Party,
right.
which they also could have done.
So,
Then they're like, Metroid Prime 4 is not here again this year, and I'm just
but they
like,
at least addressed it. They were like, we
did.
don't have anything new to show. We are still working on it. Please be patient.
It would have been really fucked up if they dropped that Metroid Dread trailer and not prefaced it with like, this is Prime 4.
I mean, I thought the way that they handled it was fine. I think I'm sure a lot of people would have preferred to see new Metroid Prime 4 content, but like the last that we heard on what was going on with development for that was that they had sort of scrapped everything and started over.
Right.
So I'm not surprised. It was
right?
a couple years ago, yeah, but I'm still not surprised, particularly with COVID related delays, that things are slow moving on that, right? That being said, they were like, hey, we don't have new Metroid Prime 4 footage, but we've got something else. And then they revealed what was called Metroid 5 first in the trailer, and was revealed to be Metroid Dread, which is the first new 2D Metroid game in the franchise in nearly 20 years. And that comes out this October.
Yeah, it's
it looks great.
Well, this game was, so a lot of you guys might not remember, but this game was like borderline vaporware for a lot of years in the mid-aughts, because this was rumored to be coming to either Game Boy Advance or DS after Fusion came out, and it just never materialized ever. But what I find very interesting about this is, since Fusion released, and I'm not counting Samus Returns because that was a remake of an old game.
Correct.
But since Fusion released, the landscape for this style of game has changed completely. And some of the most incredible top of the line independent games are the Metroid style. Like you think of Bloodstained, you think of Hollow Knight, you think of Guacamelee, you think like Axiom Verge.
I was going to say this.
Yeah,
you can see the influence that these indies that have come out over the last 5 to 7 years have had on the folks who are developing Metroid Dread.
Well, you hope, because like I said, the gameplay they showed wasn't like blow you away, like it didn't look amazing, and I feel like that they're going to have to bring something amazing to the table to stand out in a world where all of these other amazing Metroid-esque games already kind of habitate. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm curious about this. I can tell you this: I don't want to pay $60 for this game.
That's how much this costs?
I don't know. Like I don't know for sure that it's 60. They didn't announce a price. They didn't announce a price.
I think I did see that there's like $100 collector's edition.
Oh, so this is $60.
Probably a $60 game.
Yeah, I'm not keen on that,
because this. I'm looking at the gameplay demo from the Treehouse Direct. I don't know.
There were two different gameplay demos today in Treehouse, and
it looks like Metroid, which is fine with me. Samus is doing like running flash kicks and kicking people or punching or shooting people while they're in the air. Like it looks cool. The animation looks pretty decent. I really do see what you mean about these other indie devs who have taken this style of game and kind of made it their own.
Mhm.
Because this doesn't, it looks and feels like a Metroid game, but it doesn't like have the personality that a Guacamelee has, or the charm that that game has, the animation style and serious tone that Blasphemous has, right? Like the thing that I like about this is the stalking element of it.
This is a game that
Probably-
I would never be able to play because I have way too much anxiety.
Oh my lord! Like, man, like if it's like the one thing that I am hopeful for is if they give you that sense of dread, like Metroid Fusion did, because I played the shit out of Metroid Fusion, and that game was like heart pounding with the fucking the Dark Samus character that was basically like the nemesis,
Yeah.
just appearing out of nowhere and chasing you from room to room, and you couldn't do anything to her until you were sufficiently powered up. And it seems like that's kind of what they're going with this game as well. So
yeah, if they can nail that, oh god, $60 is.
I mean,
It's a big pill to swallow
it
for
basically
this, but-
seems as though you know, Metroid Dread is something that was considered to have been vaporware for a long time for Nintendo. But then they did the Samus Returns remaster for the 3DS.
mhm.
And I mean, I think they had mentioned it. What's his nuts? Yoshio Sakamoto said, like, on the conference today, he was like, yeah, Mercury Steam did a really good job with Samus Returns, and so we brought him back to help us out on Metroid Dread. And the Samus Returns remake was really, really well received. So
Why haven't they remade that for Switch? Like, why haven't they put out just like a polished version of that?
That's an excellent question. So, I mean, Samus Returns came out in late 2017, so that's about 4 years old at this point. I have to imagine that I don't know, maybe just like upresing from 3DS is, you'd have to basically rebuild the game from the
Yeah.
ground up.
Hmm.
Samus Returns felt like one of these like last gasp games for the 3DS too.
Yeah.
So
New
Yeah.
WarioWare game coming September.
yeah, after a
10th.
long time.
Yeah. This might end up on my Switch because my wife really likes the WarioWare games. So if you are a fan of that game,
I like the
you have a
WarioWare
lot. Yeah,
games
it
a
looks like
lot.
there's a lot to look forward to with this one. Carrie, I'm sure you were very excited getting to see a lot of a pretty extended look trailer wise at Shin Megami Tensei 5.
I want to talk real quick about Shin Megami Tensei 5. Because I think what they did, because I watched the Treehouse presentation on this as well. So they spent like 15-20 minutes showing off gameplay of this. And I was like, this looks like Nocturne. And then they talked to an NPC, and an NPC in the game said, oh, about 20 years ago, this world became a new netherworld, but we don't really know why. And I was like, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne first came out 18 years ago. That's about 20 years ago, right? And I was like, the environment in this game looks like a really high-def version of the Vortex world. And then straight up another NPC said, a massive battle between demons and angels took place here 18 years ago. And I'm like, these motherfuckers just made a direct sequel to Nocturne. Like, this game, I swear to God, this game 100% takes place after the demon ending of Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. I'm calling it right here. The Demi-Fiend will appear in this game as probably the final boss. So yeah, this game comes out worldwide November 12th. I can't fucking wait to play it. I think it looks great. Yeah,
It's not my game, but it looks cool from this presentation that they showed.
big fan of the design of the main character. He is super androgynous. I'm a huge fan of whatever gender that is. It's really tasty. Really big fan of that. But yeah, I think it looks great. It looks like a Shin Megami Tensei game. So if you haven't played like a mainline Shin Megami Tensei game, you might be in for a bit of a rude surprise. Now, the difference is that, one, this is the first Shin Megami, the first mainline SMT game that we can see like enemy encounters like on the main map. That's something that we've been able to do for a long time in the Persona series, but SMT, the mainline games, have always been just like raw random battles, right?
Didn't SMT4 come out for the DS?
Yes, SMT4 was a DS game.
Because I was sitting there I was sitting there struggling to remember. I was like, I don't remember ever seeing Shin Megami Tensei 4. And then I recalled, I was like, wait a second, I think this came out on the DS.
Yeah, and what's wild is Shin Megami Tensei 4 had like an extended version, basically, or like a pseudo sequel called Apocalypse, which I think was a 3DS game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Honestly, Brad, you may have sold me my copy of Shin Megami Tensei 4.
Highly possible.
But yeah, I mean, it also looks like this is a true sort of open world Shin Megami Tensei title for the first time, whereas most mainline games have had a horrible world map that has different little sections that you go into and explore in full. Yeah, God, that's the one thing about replaying Nocturne. I'm like, boy, I didn't miss this world map at all. Fucking awful. But yeah, I couldn't be more excited, especially once I like pieced together. I was like, this is 100% just a direct sequel to Nocturne. There's too much going on as far as the connections there. But the other thing I was super fucking excited about, they brought back Advance Wars.
Yeah.
After 13 years, they brought back Advance Wars.
They saw Wargroove come out and be really popular, and they're like, oh man, there's still money in that cow that we can milk out of this. So let's remake Advance Wars 1 and 2, and that's coming out December 3rd. A lot of people are very excited about this. So
I watched the gameplay demo for that on the Treehouse today as well, and it looks great. Looks like it plays classic. I mean, this is I would almost qualify it as a Fire Emblem style tactical RPG where you are on, a straight grid and you have your units and you move around, so on and so forth. Yeah, I loved the first Advance Wars game. I never actually played the second, but I loved the first. I think I still have a copy of the first somewhere. But yeah, the Advance Wars announcement was what got like my largest like involuntary vocal reaction while watching this. Yeah, the last Advance Wars game we got was in 2008, and so that was a DS title.
Right? That was DS.
Yeah. Yep. 1 and 2 were
they were GBA titles.
They were GBA titles.
Yeah.
And then the other two were on Dual Strike, and Days of Ruin were both on the DS. And so Days of Ruin came out January 2008. So it's been 13 years since we've gotten a new Advance Wars game. So this gives me
like they're getting a real resurgence here. I mean, because that Metal Slug Tactics game is coming out now that they showed off during the Summer Game Fest thing. I guess Fire Emblem finally finding a Western audience has propelled all the grid.
I honestly think that the explosion in popularity of Fire Emblem between whatever the 3DS
Awakening and
Awakening, and then Fates was fucking terrible. If you like Fire Emblem Fates, catch yourself some taste, please. But Three Houses is really what caused this series to skyrocket harder than it's ever been in popularity. So yeah, I mean, hey, good for us tactical RPG fans.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure this guy is praying that they can ride the coattails to that level of success when this guy comes out, but we'll see.
Advance Wars 1 and 2, the sprite work in the game looks super cute. I love the animations on all the characters. Everyone just looks really crisp and fresh, and yeah, I think it looks great. Can't wait.
I'm gonna give these a shot this time. I still have not been able to find a turn-based tactical strategy game that has been able to click with me ever. And it feels like a type of game that I should like. It seems like it's fucking up my alley.
Not even
Considering
like
if you give me the
Final-
board game version, I'm cool with it. So
not even like Final Fantasy Tactics.
I never did give FFT a real shake. Like I think I played it for like 2 minutes on my
FFT is real good.
Oh my god,
Like
that-
the
I-
original
I'm talking
FFT is
about-
good. You
yeah.
don't worry about FFT Advance. Like the FFTA games are, but
You-
like the original PS1 Final Fantasy Tactics is.
Yeah, you would. That would be
Chef's
the
kiss.
one. That would be the game that would get you to play these and to try other ones.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
because I've tried Fire Emblem, I've tried I tried that Project Triangle Strategy demo.
Oh, I never.
other ones
I
I've
still haven't
tried
played that.
too. I didn't like that the first battle they put you in took like an hour. Like I was just like, it's too long. Music's good, but I feel like this is very tedious. So they also showed off a Legend of Zelda. So we were wondering what they were going to do for the Zelda 35th anniversary. Turns out the answer to that question is not much.
Not much.
They showed off a limited edition Zelda themed Game and Watch console that's going to come preloaded with a colored screen where you can play Zelda 1 and 2 and Link's Awakening and a Game and Watch game that's been rethemed to have Zelda characters in it. It's called Vermin.
It's cute.
Yeah, Carrie, I didn't think you would buy this until they showed that they had the original Link's Awakening on there that you can play. And now
That's
I feel like
basically
they're
it. Because like, look, I've played and I've beaten Zelda 2. I don't need to do that again, especially not on a.
Why would you want to play
tiny little
Zelda 2
screen.
again? Good Lord, Zelda 2.
I shouldn't have finished it to begin with.
The Simon's Quest of the Zelda series.
Yeah, good music though.
It's fine music, but the gameplay is just
Mm.
not a Zelda 2 guy. But yeah, so that's coming soon. In limited quantities, I'm sure. So again, if you don't get it when it first comes out, you can pay scalping prices for it. This is the same thing they did with Mario. They also showed a sizzle reel with several other games. Probably the most notable one's a new Fatal Frame coming out, a Danganronpa collection. So all three of the
I thought the title was cool. They're like, Danganronpa is 10 years old, so we're calling it the Decadence collection, but Decade is
collection.
yes. It's very cute.
DBZ Kakarot's coming to Switch. They showed off some more stuff for Mario Golf. They showed another trailer for Skyward Sword and Monster Hunter Stories, and they showed the Age of Calamity DLC for the first time, where you can play as
you can play
Guardian.
as a guardian, which looks hilarious. Also of note, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 come to Switch.
Yeah.
That remaster. That game's super fucking fun.
Yeah.
Hope it plays well on Switch.
Hope so too.
There is no greater joy than just doing a kickflip to Superman by Goldfinger.
and then they showed kind of a trailer with some gameplay interstitched in for the Breath of the Wild sequel, and said that it's coming out in 2022, which is hilarious because that's a lie.
That game's coming out in 2023. Like, look, here's the thing. I know a lot of the deals with why Breath of the Wild was delayed so many times is because that started off as a Wii U game, and then halfway through development they created a new console, and so they had to then develop the game separately for the Switch so that everything would release on the same day and date for the launch of the Switch. So I understand that that was a huge reason as to why that game was delayed as many times as it was, but I mean, let's be fucking real here. This game is not coming. I will be shocked if this game comes out in 2022. This game is coming out end of 2022.
Like I said, I feel like there's a Nintendo Direct coming our way in the spring that's going to have a very apologetic bow at the end of the
from Eiji Aonuma saying thank you for your patience. We are still working on the game. Yeah. Looks great though. Can't fucking wait.
Sure.
Inject this directly into my veins.
Maybe I should probably finish Breath of the Wild at some point.
What the fuck? How have you not
I agree.
I got
agree.
right. Yeah, I got right to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go take on Hyrule Castle, and then I just didn't.
I think something else came out, and then I just never got back to it. So like I'm at the point now where
Unbelievable.
I need to just start over.
Yeah, like I beat all the Guardians. I got the Master Sword. I've got like 16 heart containers and lots of recipes. And
I not
did,
only
2/3 of the shrines.
beat the game, I got all of the shrines and I did all of the DLC as well.
The truest
I also have
maniac,
a Breath of the Wild
is
tattoo.
Johnny, who not only did that but also found all like 900
You
some
did the
odd
Korok
Korok
seeds?
yeah, as well.
That's too
He's
much.
an insane person.
I feel really bad because like I finished Phoenix Rising or whatever that ripoff game
So you
is.
finished the ripoff of Breath
I
of the
finished
Wild.
I finished the knockoff that you get off the street, but the real McCoy I haven't gone back to, so I'll have to do that.
Games really, so like every video game and video game developers, I know you're listening, every video game that exists should have an option to literally like just re-enable the tutorial at any point. Like you can just literally turn a tutorial back on in game to teach you how to play the game again for when you don't play a game for several months or years, and then you don't remember like it'll come back to you once you get back on the bike again. But just walk me through it, or having carved out like I can play through the Great Plateau again. I guess in Zelda, I could just play through the Great Plateau. Like I could start a new save file, play through the first 2 hours of the game, remember how all the because the one great thing about Zelda is that they do give you everything up front. Like they give you all the tools up front, and then it's just you have to learn how to use them creatively. But again, teach me how to fight the Guardians again, because I'm not gonna remember. Teach me how to like recipes work again. Like just give me something that I can play. It's like 30 minutes max, just to re-immerse me in your game, and then I can go back and finish it. Like I'm gonna need the same shit when Assassin's Creed comes out too, or not when Assassin's Creed comes out, but when like if I ever revisit Valhalla, like I'm gonna be like, I am lost. I haven't played this game in 6 months. I don't remember the intricacies of the control and how it plays. You just need to teach me again, and then once I get it back on my fingers, then I'll be good. But you know,
I need that for story, right?
That too.
Like,
yeah, give us some games. Some games do that.
Dragon Quest was the last game that I played that did that, where it's like, hey, here's literally a synopsis of everything you did up to this point.
Yeah,
and that was great. But that's what I need. So now
I think I saw a friend of the show, Chris Alt, talk about this is like working adult mode in the game, where you could just like come back and have
and not have it cost anything. Ubisoft, right? Oh, it's time savers. You don't have time because you're a working adult.
Read the tutorial. We're going to teach you how to play the game again. It only costs $4.99. So.
Right? Come on, man.
So that is E3 in a nutshell. Again, a little lackluster. We still have EA Play this weekend, so we'll talk about that next week.
Sure.
Hey, they show Mass Effect 4 stuff.
Look, I know. Y'all enjoy.
It's on. I finished 3 this weekend. Killed the Reapers. Didn't get the bonus cutscene at the end. Apparently you have to get like 7,800 readiness to get that cutscene now.
Oh yeah. It's got to be super high.
Yeah,
it's got to be super high. I got my 3 platinums and my 4 100%.
You saw,
so I can take a break for a bit.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So like I said, they show Mass Effect 4 stuff. Like it's over. EA 1 E3.
Yeah. I mean, again, as said, I thought both Microsoft and Nintendo had really strong showings. Look, at this point, I'm like knee deep in theories about what's going on in Breath of the Wild 2, because we saw Link the way he looks in Breath of the Wild with the blue tunic, and then we saw Link looking real shaggy haired and wearing this like green half tunic he's got.
Link clearly became a vagrant in between.
A lot of people seem to think that we may be traversing time periods, because the shaggy haired green tunicked Link looks suspiciously like the design of Link that we saw on like the tapestry in Breath of the Wild 1. So
I've seen a lot of speculation around that already. There's some interesting theories that would lend itself to that interpretation.
Yeah.
Let's say. So we'll see what happens when we learn more about that. You should see what's happening elsewhere on the TNP Studios network by checking out all the other shows. that are on the network, including the Apocalypse, Black on Black Cinema, Coming Distractions, and the weekly preview episodes of Look Forward, which are completely free. And if you like us that much, and you will, then go to densepixels.com/premium, give us $5 a month or $50 for the year to access our premium shows, which include the full episodes of Look Forward, the airing of Grievances, No Time to Bleed, Upstage Conversation, and recording this weekend, a new episode of The Men with the Golden Tongues that you fans of the Dense Pixels podcast will not want to miss.
That's for sure.
I guarantee. Don't forget also to contribute financially to the show without spending any extra money by going to Amazon or densepixels.com/Amazon whenever you buy anything on Amazon, because we get a small cut of the sale. Let's send Jeff Bezos to space, and also help your boys and girls at the TNP Studios Network by going to densepixels.com/Amazon. Discord's there, densepixels.com/fans. Again, youtube.com/densepixels. Go check out the watch along for the Microsoft E3 presentation. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. And then finally follow us on Twitch. I am Dense Pixels Brad. Carrie is Substance Carrie. Terrence is Apparition 410. I think that was the fastest housekeeping that we've ever done, combining it all together at the end.
We did it.
We did it. Not as fun as we usually make them, but we did it fast, which is what we needed to do this week.
Well, E3 2021 is in the books, and that's about what I expected.
That's about what I. Subtitles. E3 2021. That's about what I expected. So that's it. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you all next time.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.